Hello, welcome to Ajna News. My name is Maria. Happy Tuesday. We are past Sunday Fun Day, which turned out to be a very sad day in our country. And we are past Manic Monday, which is good. And getting a little bit more news about what occurred over the weekend in two separate incidents that has just been so tragic and I'm sure is on everyone's mind right now. And so I want to talk a little bit about my thoughts about the shooting in El Paso and the shooting that happened in Dayton, Ohio. So this past Saturday, I was packing up my book bag, which is sitting on my bed there, and making a shopping list, to go to my local Walmart. And my Walmart is not far from me, and it is 90% Hispanic and African American. It was also the beginning of the month. I also knew we were coming right off of July, so there were still some Christmas and July sales and back to school sales. And I had some kind of mid-season stuff I wanted to get, like maybe some little summery, like just dresses to throw on, and just that kind of stuff that I knew would be going on sale. And my regular bill paying that I do. People pay their bills there. You know what Walmart's all about. There's an eye center there. You need anything, it's at Walmart. Okay. And it's right on the bus route. So I was getting ready to go. And I had the TV on in the background, and I heard around 10 o'clock, I heard that there was a shooting at Walmart. So I looked, and they said El Paso, and I'm nowhere near El Paso. I'm in way far away in upper western New York. But I had heard that there was a shooting at another Walmart. It seemed like it was just 10 days before that, or 12, something like that. And I was like, whoa, that's too many Walmarts. Wait, wasn't there just a shooting at Walmart? Where was it? Mississippi, Missouri? In my head, I was just trying to remember. I was like, there was just a shooting in Walmart. What the heck's... And this is exactly what ran through my head. What's going on with the Walmarts? What's happening here? And I started praying, and I started writing on Facebook, which I've been writing a lot about. And I just paid attention to the news, and I thought, I'm not going to Walmart today. Now I know that's not the smart response to terrorism, because terrorism is meant to terrorize and paralyze people and make us stop and not do our normal everyday activity, right? But I really thought, they don't have a handle on this. Something's going on with the Walmarts. These people were targeted. These folks were targeted. They were targeted. It was so planned as the news was unfolding. It sickened me all day, as it did so many people. I went and I read the manifesto, the Meh manifesto. And it was completely seasoned, salt and peppered generously with Donald Trump's words, the man that is sitting in the White House Oval Office right now, pretending to know what he is doing at being president, acting like a president, because it's all a show to him. It's just a big circus show, okay? It's a performance. It's just a really bad reality show. And he just wants the applause, and he wants to win, and he wants to be a dictator and set up a regime through his family. That's what he wants. Everything he's doing is what dictators do. It's what white supremacists say. He said the word invasion 6 times when speaking in Florida at a rally in the Panhandle. 6 times he said it in less than 33 seconds. And what he did was he opened up a conversation of, what are we going to do at the border? I mean, what are we going to do? They're invading. There's an invasion. They're coming in caravans. They're violent. They're criminals. A lot of these people are not good people. They're bringing drugs. They're invading. They're invading. There's an invasion. There's an invasion. There's an invasion. They're invading. They're invading. What am I supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? It's not like, and this is what he said, and this is why he can wash his hands and say, my hands are clean. I didn't say it. Just like he didn't start the chant of send her back for Congresswoman Omar, right? He egged it on. He egged it on. Okay. So he's a shit disruptor. He stirs the pot, makes somebody else spin around, watches them spin, and then he got what he wanted. Somebody else does his dirty work. That's what he does. He's a shit disruptor. So he stood there and he said, what are we going to do? It's not like our people at the border, we can't give them weapons. Now, in other countries, they can. In other countries, they do. In other countries, they can. But I can't. I won't do that. But what am I supposed to do? They're coming. They're invading. Somebody in the audience yelled, shoot them. And this is what he did. He pointed to the person. He went, huh, only in the panhandle. He half smiled, laughed. He almost clapped, but instead he pointed to the person. He said, only in the panhandle can you get away with that kind of stuff. Only in the panhandle. That was his number one opportunity to say no, to shut it down right there. Just like Senator John McCain shut down a woman who said, oh, I don't like that Obama at a rally. I think it was a town hall. She had the microphone and she was going to ask a question. She said, oh, I'm scared of those Muslims. I don't trust them. I don't like that Obama. He's one of them. He grabbed that microphone from her so quick and said, oh, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. He shook his head and walked away. He said, no, ma'am. He said, Barack Obama is a very fine man. And he said, we have nothing to fear of our Arabic and Muslims. He said, they're fine people. They're our neighbors. Okay, so Donald Trump has had so many opportunities to shut down the hate, but he doesn't. He doesn't. He lights a little match around it. He adds little. He's like that. He's like that piece of wood you're throwing in the fire. Keeps it going. He stokes the flames. Okay. Now, there's been a lot of conversation about, is this because of white supremacy? Is white supremacy mental illness? White supremacy you will never find in the DSM, which is the Diagnostic Manual for statistical purposes for psychological illnesses. You will never find white supremacy listed as a mental illness. Are some of the character traits that white supremacists have listed as problematic because they're extreme? Yes. So years ago, in the DSM and the APA, the American Psychological Association, defined racism at first, years ago, the DSM and the DSM 2 and 3 revised, they did list racism as a characteristic of extreme mental disorder, of pervasive thought pattern, of thinking a negative thought about something to the point of avoidance of the person that they're racist about. Eventually, they looked at it and said, wait a minute, around the time All in the Family came out and Carol O'Connor played Archie Bunker. What Carol O'Connor, what the whole All in the Family, what was so brilliantly done is Archie was allowed to be that conduit catalyst and show all the bigotry and be the complete asshat bigot that there is out there everywhere and that a lot of people could relate to because they had heard relatives or they grew up thinking things that just weren't true. But then they had Michael or Meathead, what Archie called him, or Rob Reiner, being the one that schooled Archie all the time, or a neighbor, or someone like the Jeffersons, so you remember All in the Family, the Jeffersons, you remember all the people that kind of spun off that show, they were always schooling Archie on, no, that's not the way it is. No, okay, no, okay. So during that time period, psychologists started to see, wait a minute, racism is taught, it's learned, and it's ignorant, and it can be unlearned. Racism is something that is taught. It can either come from several different pathways. Complete ignorance. Media portrayals. You see a lot of black people that are raping and killing people, just like if you see a bunch of Italians that are gunning people down, you think mafia, okay? You see a bunch of Hispanics with knives, like in West Side Story, or fighting, or gangs, you think gangs, okay? So the media plays a big role in this, in how we perceive race and culture. So that said, that's a big part of it. So what psychologists saw is we can teach children just from beginning of sharing, being neighborly. Good old Mr. Rogers. Remember Mr. Rogers? Okay, you just share all different colors. Sesame Street. All these things started to come out with different color children, Asian, black, Hispanic, cappuccino, yellow. So children grow up immersed with, you wouldn't think America would have a problem with this because we are a melding pot of so many different cultures and colors and creeds, right? But obviously we do, because see, the white supremacists were kind of banished. They used to walk around with sheets over their head, and they met in secret little clubs, and yeah, people knew who they were. Uh, they knew they were the powerful people in the town. They were the neighbor that looked down at you. Okay, so people can't walk around with sheets anymore, right? So now they don't have to. Some of them still do carry their little torches at Trump rallies. Yeah, they do. So what's really going on? Is this mental illness? No. Now, in the situation with Dayton, Ohio, there were enough, they're finding out, and I really thought the minute I heard he killed his sister, I thought this is something else going on. There's something wrong with this dude, and has been for a long time. And what they're finding out is he had a kill list. He had a hit list way back in high school. And he was a loathing, kind of depressed kid. He had a rape list, people that he wanted to rape. And it started long before Donald Trump. So and the police were well aware of him. They had his lists. They got in touch with the people on the list. He still got a gun with 250 magazines that were, I think 240 of them. I don't know how many were empty, so I don't want to say it wrong. But had he gotten into the club, he would have been able to kill everyone. So had it not been, in 30 seconds, he killed so many people. But somebody dropped the ball there with him. Do I think mental illness was involved with that? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I think that there was a young man who was needed some attention and needed some help, and didn't get it or get enough of it, and it went unchecked. We don't know if we know he drove to, from what they're reporting, he drove to the club with his sister and her friend. And they're saying they don't know, the sister is dead, and what if they knew about this was going to happen, but The guy showed up with a full body armor on. I mean, how could you be driving in the car with somebody with the ear goggles, the bulletproof vest, and all that gun ammo and everything? They may have just become aware of it as he was getting out of the car. Maybe he threw on his vest then and they realized, uh-oh. And so, shot them. I don't want to say anything more about the police because the police did a wonderful job and the first responders in Dayton, Ohio. Dayton, Ohio. Dayton, Ohio, not Toledo. Don't know why people keep saying Toledo, but it's Dayton, Ohio. All right. But what happened in El Paso, Walmart, that was white supremacy. That was Donald Trump rhetoric. That was Donald Trump fueled. And what possibly happened in Dayton, Ohio was because this guy, Connor Betts, saw that the other dude, Patrick, got away with it. And it spurred him on. So, copycat. Because the people that he had on the list, his kill list in high school, they were white. They were all different races. It wasn't like they were just black or just Hispanic or just Muslim. Some of them were Jewish. A lot of them were Jewish. So, I mean, we might find out that he was a supremacist. We don't even know. We don't have anything. We don't have a real clear motive. They don't have a lot of information. But they have enough back information about this kid that tells me he had some behavioral problems, definite mental health issues that the police knew about, and somehow he still got. I mean, he had 2 separate kill lists in high school. Just a few years before that, he had kill lists. He had rape lists. So much so that the policeman took the list and went to the people on and said, "You're on a list." So we want you to be careful, and So they were well aware of this guy. Okay. El Paso knew. He drove almost 12 hours. He planned it. Now, what I believe, he's still alive. But here's the thing: if he totally was truly, completely radicalized, he would have martyred himself. Most completely surrendered, radicalized people that I've read about, and you can go do your own homework, will save a bullet for themselves. They know to only shoot so much and save a bullet for themselves, or be taken out by a policeman, be martyred for the cause. They're loyal. They're not going to give up information. This guy kind of almost came to his senses a little bit, almost surrendered. They're not mentally ill. And he wants to talk about it. He wants to tell. And he doesn't care. And he doesn't care that he killed people, and he has no remorse. Now, he wrote the manifesto, and in the manifesto he said, "I'm writing a manifesto, but I'm kind of writing it it's kind of a meh, meh, M-E-H. It's a manifesto, manifesto. But really it's because once I write it, it'll help me now because I didn't go through with it the first time." So he thought by writing the manifesto, manifesto, it would spur him on. Once he posted it, he had to go through with his mission. He had to complete his task, which was to go kill people and eradicate America of those people that are invading and taking our jobs and his job away from him and his little piece of the apple pie of America away from him. What this is a kid who I call him a kid, a coward, an evil seed. He is an evil kid who probably was born with a little silver spoon in his mouth. When he became a psychologist, he studied psychology. He had 2 jobs, but he didn't have the job he wanted. Nothing was working out for him the way he wanted. He made that very clear, that he, maybe that's the other guy that studied psychology. I have to go look at it again. He had two jobs. He even said, go read the manifesto if you can stomach it. He said, I didn't really think Hispanics weren't really his target. He even went on to say some of the migrant workers around here, they actually do good work. They work really hard. He said, but their kids don't. Their kids don't do anything, and they get all the good jobs, and they get the college, and it gets taken away from them. So he's a real injustice collector. He's collecting all these injustices, and all he needed to do was go 54 minutes away from Brooksville, Ohio, where he lived, and he was in Cincinnati at the rally, which just took place, Donald Trump's rally. And then all he had to do was drive 55 minutes to Dayton, Ohio, in either direction, and he was at the club. So you got the one guy that was so close to the Cincinnati rally that did Trump's rhetoric at the rally, if he was there, or did what happened at the Walmart in El Paso spur him on. But you clearly got one guy in Dayton, Ohio, who was known, a red flag was up, he was known to have mental health problems. He was dangerous. He was a threat to society. Why did he get a gun? Why did he get that kind of a gun with that much ammo? Why did he even have a driver's license? See, I still wonder that. How did they get driver's license when they're already on a list of being dangerous to the public? Yeah, I wonder that. Okay, so Donald Trump finally came out and spoke about it yesterday and blamed video games, mental health, violent video games, mental health, and everything but himself. When again, the young man that killed, now what is it, 30 people? I think 2 more people died in El Paso. 2 more people definitely died in El Paso. Killed all these people, injured so many more, traumatized all those people. A loss they'll never forget. And he couldn't take that moment to re-examine his heart and just say, you know I get a little, he could have even humbly flossed over it a little bit and worked around it. And you know what? People like that about a person, that they're able to re-examine and say, maybe I was wrong. Maybe, I've rethought this. Do you remember when President Obama came out and talked about same-sex marriage? And he said, I used to be really against this. I've been brought up to believe it's not okay. It's a sin. I always been just man and woman, get married, that's it. But I started to realize I'm wrong. I'm thinking about it wrong. And I'm sorry for that. And I've had a change of heart. Okay. That's what a grown-up adult does. I'm evolving. I'm an adult. I'm going to continue to evolve. I'm not going to stay narrow-minded and stuck. I'm going to evolve. I'm going to re-examine my heart every day and think, maybe I was wrong. See, that looks really good on leaders because people do follow leaders, especially young men who want some recognition and adulation, and they want to emulate someone. They want to follow a leader. The man who killed all the people in El Paso is a white supremacist. Donald Trump, you are a white supremacist, dear Mr. President. This is for you. You are a white supremacist. Now, I don't think you know that in your heart. Because if you ask, if you say to most people, what you just said is racist, they'll be like, what? Some of my best friends are black, Arabic, Spanish, Chinese, whatever, right? What's the first thing? Do people ever really know when they're racist? I mean, do they know on a conscious level? They might if they sit and think about it long enough, they might think, I kind of look at that person differently because of my experience with people of that color, or I do kind of know that I've seen on TV people portrayed that way, or more people that color are in jail. So, I mean, what's this based on? But they're not walking around with that in front of their head all the time. They're just making decisions like, not even knowing, because it's kind of on a back burner. But then with white supremacists, there's an agenda involved. So that's why racism is it's something you can work with. You can work with a person that's racist and educate them and immerse them in culture and look at why do you think that about that culture, that color person, that person that was born in that geographical location? Why do you think that? But with a white supremacist, no, it's a mindset. It's a stronghold, it's a mindset, but it has a clear agenda. Its agenda is based in greed. The agenda is, racism isn't based in greed. Although discrimination goes along with it, it's not based in greed. White supremacy is based in greed. It's superior. It believes one race culture is unworthy. There are the haves and the have-nots and the deserving and the non-deserving. And if you're not white and their brand of white, you're not worthy. You're subhuman. You're an infestation. You're a bug. They want to squash you. They want to kill you. They don't care. They want to eradicate you. We've heard you, Donald Trump, the president, talk about black people and their cities being infested with rats. That may be. Baltimore might have a rodent problem. But you don't air that on, you don't put down, you don't do that on Twitter and then come out and talk about online behavior and these dark areas of online. As far as I'm concerned, your Twitter feed is a cesspool. Your Twitter feed is a dark place on the internet. Yes. See, because I think Twitter should have come down a long time ago. Yeah. But now you're a president and you're giving the news on it, and everybody's got to watch your damn Twitter to figure out what you're going to do next when you twitch. Because that's it. Right? Yeah, I didn't think you were going to come out and say anything. You were just going to wait and keep tweeting. To finally realize this, you read the manifesto and you saw the word invasion. Not like that. Donald Trump, you paid for a campaign ad which says, stop the invasion. They're invading. So all the talking points that you made up that you were so tightly teleprompted yesterday, oh man. You looked like you were going to burst. Your tongue was stuck to the roof of your mouth. You were sticking to that teleprompter. You were squinting, reading it. So you were clenching onto the podium and reading it, and you were pissed because those weren't your words. It's not what you felt in your heart. You were disingenuous. Not a damn thing you said came from your heart. It was all scripted, and I wouldn't be surprised if somebody didn't put up Toledo to make you look like a fool. And you read it, because you kind of went like this. You kind of went, ew, like I said the wrong word. Mistakes happen. You're human. But you just can't admit that you're human and you ever make a mistake, can you? So I don't want this to be hateful. I said my channel is not going to be hateful. I will say this. I will call out hate where I see it. You're a hater. You're a hater, and you have stirred up a hornet's nest of haters. A bunch of hornets that were just going back and forth, eating their food, hunting, coming back to the nest to feed it, hanging out together, and coexisting with the rest of the world, not bothering anybody. But now you have told those hornets they're going to come after you. They want your homes. They want your food. They want this. They want that. They're going to hurt you. So guess what the hornets are doing now? They're running around. They're like, oh, they're going to swat me? They're going to take my home down? They're going to disturb my life? No, they're invading? Ooh, I'm going to get them first. I'm going to go attack them. And they're white, angry young men. And they have guns. And if you don't deal with NRA and the fact that they have guns, and NRA is in your pocket and the Democrats' pockets and every Republican's pockets, and you're all just feeding each other, you're all just FOS. All of you are. You more than anyone. Why is it so hard for you to just admit you're wrong? To just stand up there and say, okay, look, at your next rally, folks, maybe I got a little ahead of myself. I'm used to performing. I've been in it, this. It's so simple. I mean, where's Kellyanne Conway when you need her? Kellyanne Conway, I would be telling him right now, Mr. President, best thing you could do is say, you know what, I'm used to the cameras going on and me being on, and I'm a showman, and I maybe I got a little caught up, and I'm used to, ginning up the crowd a little bit. Maybe I got you a little too hyper, but I never meant for anyone to hurt anyone. Never. See, because you never said the word white supremacy. You never condemned it. You never condemned domestic terrorism and violence and nationalism. In fact, you defended it. You could not make the clear difference between nationalism and you defended it. And white supremacy that was going on in Charlottesville. You could not definitively give margins there. You just kind of said, no, one is a love for country, and that has nothing to do with white supremacy. Looks like the lines are being blurred, huh? Because now you got young men who think it's being a good patriot, or being a good soldier. Go out there and write their manifesto and shoot them up. Okay. Here's why giving people with the white hats more guns, the good guys more guns, and taking away the guns from the bad guys and living like the Old West doesn't work. Guys with the black hats are not saying, I'm going to meet you, Mr. with the white hat on, at noon, at sundown. They're just showing up. In El Paso, in that Walmart, which Julian Castro, by the way, so eloquently explained, do you not think people had guns on them in Texas? There were tons of people in Walmart that were packing guns. It didn't save not one life. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. In fact, one man in El Paso shooting in Walmart, a reporter ran up to as he was coming out into the parking lot, and they were getting into, he was explaining what happened on Saturday. And he said as Walmart was locking down, the way they were being directed, go to the back, go to the side, go here, go there, and everybody was running and hiding, which is what you're supposed to, making distance between you and the shooter and following directions. Go in the direction they tell you, right? While they were doing that, he realized I had my gun on me. And he was military. He was special operations military, and he could have used it. And he had his gun on him, and he was like, I got my gun, but now I'm locked down over here. And so what can I do? What can I do? There's little kids wandering around that their parents were stuck over there. So they're lost, and they're going to get shot. I hear the gunfire. Let me run and pick up those kids with my friend and move the kids to safety. And he couldn't shoot anybody. He had a right to carry. There were a lot of people in the Walmart in Texas who had a permit to carry. And also some that were just picking. Didn't save anybody. The answer isn't more guns. Okay? And when you're trying to figure out who's mentally ill, well, why don't you start with the kid in Dayton, Ohio? He was mentally ill. And guess what? He's still got a gun. Now, with that mentally ill kid in Ohio who clearly never gave up his intent to kill people, would he have maybe been stopped if there was a way for him to not get a gun legally? Yeah, that is a problem. When you clearly know that somebody has made threats, that they're a threat to themselves and other people, and they're willing to take everyone out with them, then there's something wrong up here that needs to be checked. But to go around and now classify this as all mental illness, so everybody who's depressed or has ever been in a psychiatric hospital for an evaluation, or anybody that is walking around with the label, is just useless. Useless. Unless they've actually done criminal behavior. Because we are all just unchecked people out there without a label and a record. Anybody can become mentally ill at any time. You could be perfectly fine, high functioning, responsible, moral, you've never hurt a soul, and somebody dies in your family, and then somebody else dies, and then you go through a divorce, and then you lose custody of your kids, and then you lose your house, and then you lose your house again, and then you lose your job, and then you lose your health, and then it could be just one stupid thing, like one stupid thing that you see as a betrayal and just too much that could put a person over the edge. Okay? And now they're what? Mentally ill? Why? Because an event occurred? Are they always mentally ill? See, you need to figure out who's like this guy in Dayton, Ohio, that from high school he's been saying, I want to kill people. I want to rape people. I want to kill people, I'm making a list of them. I want to rape people, I'm making a list of them. Okay, he's deranged. Those people should never have guns. Okay? That's a special kind of mentally ill. That's a brand that most people don't know about. That's just a sociopath, is what that is. That's a sociopath. Okay? The guy in El Paso clearly knew what he was doing. Clearly. Did he have a little geekazoid factor going on with him? Probably. There are many brainy, beautiful people out there that have a little bit of a geek gene in them. And they create beautiful things for the world. So what's next? We're going to go after geeks? Say, okay, he was on his computer too much, he was a little bit geeky, he was isolated. Let me tell you what radicalizes the person that went to El Paso. You do. Go look up radicalization in the wiki, in the Wikipedia. Go look it up. You will see pathways to radicalization. I can find you in 5 of those pathways. Groups, group levels, hatred, competitiveness, and one more. I'll list it. Isolation. That's where you want to give the news your way. You want everything to come from you. Everybody else is fake news. Okay? So hatred, competitiveness, group level, and isolation. Yeah, that's you. A dictator, radicalizing young men and women too, and older men that have always had kind of a compensity to want to be a supremacist, that have always thought they've always had a little bit. All it takes is a person that's always had a little bit of a delusion, a little bit of grandiosity going on, that's thought they're a legend in their own head and they're better than everyone else and their shit doesn't stink. And they've worked harder than everyone else and they do better than everyone else and they know more than everyone else. Sounds like you, huh? Sounds like you. I want to see you out of the White House. I'm done with you playing president. I'm done. There is nothing you can do to convince me at this point that you're going to be okay. And I'm not convinced that there's any Republican that I want in or any Democrat that I want in, but anybody would be better than you. Okay? That's my video. That's not hate. That's not judgment. That's just the way it is. And I think you should stay away from El Paso. I think you should. Yeah. I think you should. I don't think it would be smart to go to El Paso now. Not after the performance you gave yesterday, which was so shallow and Tin Man, and there's no heart there. There's no heart there. I want to know why you went to military school, Donald Trump. I want to know who bullied you. I want to know what video games you play in the middle of the night. I want to know what labels you were labeled with mentally when you were in college and you misbehaved, when you were in high school and you misbehaved. Why are all your school records quiet? You got some ghosts back there, huh? Yeah. I don't know too many I just don't know too many men that go to bed reading about the rise of Hitler. Okay. I'm going to keep praying for you because I'm told to pray for our leaders, but you're not my leader anymore. You're not. See, God is my leader. I pray for everyone you come into contact with, for you to have wisdom when you're dealing with them. And for the world to stay okay while you're in office because you don't know what you're doing. You're a menace to society. You are danger number 1 to the globe. You are. You are the danger. You are the clear and present danger. You are not a symptom, Donald Trump. You are not the exposer and divider. You are the contagion of a viral disease of hate. You are the contagion of hate. Okay. That's all I wanted to say. Take care, everyone. Have a nice day. Thanks for joining me. Bye.